Welcome, everyone, to the Diversity is Lit Book Club. We are here for our monthly discussion. This month, we are talking about our November Book of the Month pick, which was Magic Has No Borders. I know I have to put mine in a very specific.
But my light here.
It actually, I think when I hold it up right away, it gets all flashy. I keep on wanting to say
my
Magic
light is
without
a little bright.
But this is Magic Has No Borders, which is a South Asian folklore anthology that was edited by Sona Chairai Potra and Samira Ahmed, with stories by 14 authors. So super excited to discuss this. We should be having some other co-hosts pop in for their thoughts, feels, and opinions on the book. But if you don't know me, my name is HollyDavis. Oh, sorry if you hear my cat's food coming down. But my book came out on November 5th. So it's a little over a month old. Super exciting. It's a YA fantasy, which is a tangled retelling with a female Flynn writer. There is disability rep with a wheelchair user, LGBTQ rep with sapphic romance, unique magic, betrayal, and secrets. So if that sounds good to you, then you should enjoy my book. There's also a Rainbow Crate book box special edition that I have to show off the gorgeous cover for.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yes. So if you want this special edition, there are a limited amount of copies. So it should be linked down below with Rainbow Crate. I think the link actually might be wrong because that was for the one box purchase, but now you have to go to the pass boxes because it's not November anymore.
Oh yeah.
So I might update that link if anyone has issues finding it. But yeah, and I usually read YA fantasy, but I also enjoy middle grade and adult mystery thrillers, contemporary romance, some sci-fi. So I read a little bit of everything.
And hi everyone, it is good to be back. I'm Teresa Beasley. I know I've been absent for a little bit. So I'm glad to be back. And I am a thriller mystery author. I used to podcast with the Reader's Book Corner, but things are changing. So it's on hiatus right now. And I am happy to be here to discuss the Magic Has No Borders.
Yay!
I didn't realize it was a collection of short stories. Oh. I thought it was just a fantasy book.
November. That's our November
theme. And I forgot.
Short stories, yeah.
Yes, I forgot that we do short stories in November, and then December is our indie pick. I was like, oh my God, I forgot. I was thinking it was a South Asian story. But then when I started reading, I was like, wait a minute, these are short stories. So I was like, okay, goofball.
That's hilarious. I love it. Oh yay. And
that's Vanessa.
I knew, I was like, they're gonna have perfect timing because that's what always happens. Literally, T just finished introducing herself, so maybe you did that on purpose, Vanessa, but
yeah.
Really quick, want to give a shout out to Christian Michael, who is here. Hello.
Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Hey guys, I'm Vanessa. Go by Vanessa Books on those platforms. Fantasy, paranormal, horror writer, editor, diversity reader, kind of all the things. Yeah, I really liked this month's anthology, so excited to talk about that.
Yay! So for anyone who hasn't read the book, we will be talking spoilers, talking about, the short stories we liked or maybe didn't like. So if you don't care, keep watching. If you do want to read the book first, save this, go read the book, then come back and join us in the discussion. We would love to hear your thoughts, feels, and opinions in the comments. And if you're here, we'd like to hear them along the way as well. This content warnings that I have for this are very short, and I know we're not complete, but the content warnings, at least that I had pulled from the very beginning, were sexual content, war, burning alive, and decapitation. So I'm sure there are plenty of other ones. Yeah. What'd you say?
Suicidal ideation, domestic violence, murder,
misogyny,
sexism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. just to name a few. Great. So our first question is, what were your general overall thoughts on the book? What rating would you give it? Did you like it? And Vanessa, I guess since you were starting to say your opinions, do you want to go first?
Sure. I really liked it. Obviously fantasy, one of my genres I'm always gonna love, but I don't think I expected this to have so many stories about creation myths and different mythology and folklore in here. So I really like that as well. Because I'm always interested in mythology and different folklore and stuff. So I really like that about it. I think my favorite stories were Chadell by Nikita Gill and Dismantle the Sun by Sangua Mandana. And then Shamsuddin Jalal by Tahir Abraham. I'm probably butchering the names.
No, I think that was right.
I think it was right.
Unraveled by Pretty Cheaper. I did like I thought She Who Answers by Shreya La Anasua. I thought that one was interesting, but it also confused me a lot with the names. That, and then a couple of the ones towards the end. I really like the Poetry of Earth, which I thought was gonna be a poem, but it wasn't. So, when I saw the title of it in the page of content, I thought it was gonna be a poem, but I really like that one. And then Merch, Masala, and Magic. So yeah, those were kind of some of my favorites.
Nice. So what would you rate it?
Oh, I give it 5 out of 5 stars.
Nice. I'm curious to see what your favorites were. Similar?
I enjoyed it as well. I'm with you. She Who Answers confused me, so I didn't really get into that story as much. My favorites were the Chadal Unraveled and the Hawk's Reason. I liked those three. Those were the main three that I really liked. I mean, the other ones were interesting, and I did like the folklore and stuff that was in them, but those were my main three. And I gave it a 4-star, which I need to update my stuff on Goodreads because I haven't did that yet.
I'll be like, oh my gosh, it looks like you've read like 5 things.
Yes, because I read a lot of stuff at the same time because I'm such a mood reader that some stuff gets me and then some stuff doesn't. So I have to really be into the story for me to like keep finishing it without touching other books. But since I read a variety of things, I normally try to read a mystery or thriller while I'm reading a fantasy book. And then I might be reading a sci-fi or a historical fiction book. I read a lot of stuff.
6 books going currently. So.
Oh my goodness.
You said you switch books too?
Yeah, I've got like 6 currently that I'm reading.
Yes. And then I have some auto books that I'm reading too, but those are more thriller books. So, and I'm listening to one Christmas book too. It's a Christmas short story.
Aww.
But yeah, I read so many different things, but those were just the main stories that I read, and I just was like sticking to them. And then some stories I came back to read them. I kind of like skipped as I was going, and then some I came back to reading. But the only one that really confused me was the She Who Answers. The rest of them I thought were pretty good. And I thought Poetry of Earth was going to be a poem too, Vanessa, until I started reading it. And then I was like, okay, is she an alien or is she like a nymph or what is she?
It sounded like she was some kind of like celestial divine being.
Yeah, because I was like, I know because the way it was described, I was like, I know she's not from Earth because she's like studying it a little bit, or she was sent to study it. But I mean, I did like that one, but those 3 were just my favorites out of the whole collection.
Nice. So saying hi to Jennifer. Hello, welcome.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for joining.
Well. Yes. So I am the same. I really enjoyed this anthology. I thought it was very unique with the South Asian folklore, and it was cool to see how some of the stories had some similar folklores, like with the feet being backwards and things like that, but then they kind of had their own spin on it, which I really liked. And the writing was like beautiful and voicey. And my favorites were also True Dial by Nikita Gill. What was this? Dismantle the Sun. Shamsuddin Jalal. Who else was it? There were other ones that I also liked, but these were like, oh my gosh, these were so good. And then What the Wind Stole by Saba Tahir. To end with that was like,
yeah. That was the better story to end with.
Yeah. So, there were some stories that didn't grab me as much as others, and I was a little bit confused or a little bit just like, maybe this writing's a little more descriptive than I kind of like. So that's why I did rate it a 4, just because there were some that I liked better than others. Overall, it was super strong, and I can't wait to talk about our favorites.
Yes.
So we all like Chudile. So
Yes.
right. So oh, also wanted to say that I wasn't expecting all of the art for each chapter, which I really appreciated because it kind of set the mood. Like you're like, oh, okay, it's called, you know, like let me go to Chudiles or whatever. Yeah, Chudile. And then it was like, I see this girl and her feet are backwards. And I'm like, and she's got like this wound and her bones showing. And I'm like, what? Like, so it was cool to kind of set the mood. And it showed whose art, who the artist was. And all of the styles were kind of different. So I really, that was really unique. I really like that.
And I like that some of them put like a Arthur's note at the end.
Yes.
To kind of tell you the inspiration of why they wrote that particular one. I like that.
Yes.
That they did that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with that whole little Chudile with the feet being backwards, but they're corpse-like, rotten smell, and like she goes up to the girl Asha and is like, if not her, then you. And I was like, whoa. Like immediately drawn in. Like, wait, like she takes the girls, but she didn't take her.
Yes.
So cool. Loved that concept of and how the mom wasn't taken. Trying to figure out why.
Yeah. It's been a while since I read this one, so I'm trying to remember why she wasn't taken.
She wasn't taken because she recognized the ancient war in the mom and Asha's blood.
It was something about their bloodline that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like they were something in their family. They were related to.
Yeah, because it says she was a woman who has been wronged so deeply that her spirit returns for revenge. She feeds on the males of the family that wronged her.
So maybe she was the one that was like fighting against those.
Fighting against it, yeah.
Too. Yeah. Oh, hi DL Tillery.
Hello. Yeah, because I guess the father. It does say, I don't think my father knew what he created from his bitterness, nor what it would cause even years after. Hatred that deep and powerful is always hungry and leaves nothing but chaos in its wake. So I'm assuming that the men's did something, and then they got rid of all the males that was in that bloodline. And then I guess she still needed sacrifices, so she started taking the females, the daughters.
Well, and the grandma, Nanima, took her and kind of told her all about that, and then she like sacrificed herself at the end, was like to stop the cycle, and then no one was taken after that. But it said the quote that I pulled on page 46 was, "It would take the girl who started the fire to end the flames." So
and I think
kind
that
of
was
the one who started kind of having that revenge mindset.
Yeah.
I think it was the grandma who, and I think she intervened when it came for her daughter. So then she was like, I'll intervene again and I'll save your daughter. But then she ends up sacrificing herself to make sure that her granddaughter didn't get taken, nor her daughter and any other daughters.
Because it probably would have been the daughter, that didn't sacrifice herself.
Yep. I think she would have came for the daughter. She would have came back for the daughter. So I thought that story was like really cool, even though she did sacrifice herself at the end.
Yeah, it was like that one like had me. I was gripped. I was like,
Yeah.
I need to know what's gonna happen.
I was like, oh, a mother's love, the things we do for our children.
Yeah, that one I really liked. Let's see.
And then
Dismantle the Sun.
fun, yeah.
I like that one. By Sangu Mandana. Which was a really cool title. I was really intrigued by that. Like, what do you mean dismantle the sun? Like, who's dismantling the sun and what does that mean? Like, usually I'm not very so speculative like about the like a title to try to like dissect it, but that I was just like, what? And then the first line for that one was cool too.
Yes.
You know, some of them drew me in more than others. Oh gosh, why didn't I write down the page numbers that these started on?
95.
Yeah, the warrior's first breath was smoke and grief. Her heart started out its first uncertain beats. Each beat became rage, each thump a battle cry. So I was like, what is this girl on fire?
Yeah.
But that
I was
was
like,
crazy.
I could see the blades, but is she walking on?
Yeah, because she was born. Her father created her from her mom's like ashes.
Okay, because I was like, what is she walking on in this picture?
Yeah, which is crazy. And he created her just to kill the king and his family, but he was just gonna destroy her, but then just decided to let her live.
Mm-hmm.
It was really interesting.
And I did like the part where she let the she helped the woman. Is this the one where they were in the carriage and she helped the woman and I think a child get away?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I thought, I was like, let's see, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I hope she's not going to kill them too. Because you're not supposed to leave witnesses.
Yeah.
Well, I marked down that part because I like the quote that she said. Let's see, where he goes, fear attract them out of the carriage by the collar of his expensive silk coat. But I'm unarmed, I'm helpless. She brought her teeth close to his ear. So were they. Then she cut his throat.
Mm.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Ooh.
So good. Oh,
that was so good.
There were a lot of quotes in here that I really liked.
Yes. Because she wasn't a human or god and couldn't, so like he couldn't kill, directly strike mankind, but she was like, I will be your hand in places you cannot strike.
On 103, where the bottom of the page, the middle of the paragraph says, if there's one thing gods and mortals have in common, it is our prejudice. We are unwelcoming and intolerant, suspicious of anyone who is different. I was like, yeah.
Wow. Yep.
Too much sums up humanity.
Yep.
Oh.
That is so true.
Oh, so good. Oh.
And another thing I liked about this story, I forgot about this one. This was the one where she had the assistant and she told her not to come with her, but she wanted to go anyway. And then you find out the history of their relationship, even though the assassin girl, I think it's Vera, she didn't know. And she was like, no, I was there 10 years ago.
with
So it was like a full circle moment with them. I'm like, wow. And when she told her, she said you were the youngest princess, the sister she went back there to see, and she said, and you were the one who left me behind.
Oh,
I was like, man, oh man.
that's intense. Yeah,
I
these
was
had
like,
like
oh
really good liners.
yes,
Well, you know, I thought it was
this was a
interesting
good story.
because the her father, the destroyer, was, you know, eventually tells her like, oh yeah, what we're doing, well, what we're doing isn't wrong, but we're limited. Um, and this was also on page 103. I've been thinking lately about what she would have wanted, you know, the mom, and I know she
Mm-hmm.
would have asked questions. Have you never considered them, Vera? And so I really felt for her because she's like, how dare you? How can I possibly ask such questions when to do so is to undermine my very existence? For 10
Mm-hmm.
years, my purpose has been the foundation of everything I am. If I question it, if I doubt myself, I am nothing. And then he said, or maybe you could be something more, something better. So it was like, yeah, this like thought of like, oh, everything that I've been doing is for nothing and I'm not enough. I'm
No,
worthless.
yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good story. It's a
Also, another on page 106. So again, this one had a lot of tricky quotes.
it
That
did.
3 of them marked just from this page. Um, but the first one is at the top of the page where it says, "Why not? You can evolve." Sati died because she was different, Vera. Because her father, enraged and embarrassed by her existence, thought he could push her into the flames and get away with it, instead of celebrating her for her kindness and intelligence. And her story isn't unique. And then a couple lines down, it says, what if that's not enough? What if instead we reshape the world so that everyone is accepted, so that no one is dismissed, belittled, or killed for being different? And
Mm-hmm.
a couple lines down from there says changing the world is not impossible. It starts with changing our purpose. And
Yes, I underlined that. I was like, oh yes.
I like that whole part because it, especially the second quote, because it really makes you stop and think, like, yeah, what would the world be like if, everyone was accepted for who they were, no one was dismissed or belittled or invalidated, no one was killed for being different. Like, what
Mm,
could our world look like? And then, because sometimes I am cynical and I get into the mindset of like, ah, things are never going to change. Humanity
mm-hmm.
is going to be this way. But so I love the reminder of changing the world is not impossible. It's there to changing our purpose.
Yeah, this one had like that hope, like,
Yes.
and like that's why she like in the end she like went back to her dad and is like, yeah, let's go dismantle the sun. It
It's
was
fun.
like, it's like let's change things. Which, yeah, that was powerful.
And then what about the one after that one, the Shamshuddin?
Yes.
Which one?
Shamsuddin
Shamshuddin.
Jalal on
Oh,
117.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that one, just the whole like riddle thing, I'm like a
Mhm.
sucker for. So
Yeah.
I loved that. And then it was like, oh, this is like neither answer, but yeah, I find that like things where there's like a djinn and there's like these riddles are kind of like a trickster. I like those. So this was the one too that had like the backwards feet, because the djinn, like when he first hung down from the tree, then he turned to face Shamsuddin and was still hanging, which means that his feet were still the other way. So like that was cool to be like, oh yeah, that was in Shudail.
Oh, okay. That's why the picture is okay.
Yeah.
The guy. Oh, okay.
But my thing was, it was just, for me, I'm like, the Jinn, he keeps going back. He keeps like going back to the tree because Sham gets the answer right. But then he keeps going back with him to do another question. But then also Sham keeps answering it correctly, and he can just say it wrong and have him go with him. So I was just like, they're both messing with each other. But those yeah, those kind of riddles where it was like, oh, the answer's neither. Like the dad was, like who's responsible for the betrothed's death, and he's like, it's neither. It's the imam's fault. And then the gay and trans rep, I really liked that with the different like stories. I love like where there's like stories within stories. It makes it feel more like, yeah, real. And I didn't know we were gonna get 4 stories, which was cool.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, maybe that's why I didn't get this one. It's stories inside of a story.
Yeah, so
because I was trying to figure out the guy. I was like, okay, this guy's upside down hanging, but I think I got him mixed up. I didn't realize that he was the jinn.
Yes, yeah. So Hakim told Sham to capture the jinn for him, and then Hakim would kill the jinn. And Sham was like, he only did it because Hakim was giving his dad like medicine to keep him, alive for a year.
Alive.
So the jinn was like, went with him, but then he's like, let's play a game. If you answer my question correctly, I'm gonna go back to the tree. But Jalal is the jinn's name. But if you answer it wrong, I'll stay with you. And if he didn't play the game, then he was gonna kill the boy. So he was like, well, I guess I'm gonna play this game. But I thought it was cool that the last like little riddle question was about Hakim tricking Sham to do all his dirty work of capturing the jinn. I really liked that. And then he was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And then like ends up poisoning Hakim. And then they live together. Or I guess the jinn lives outside his home in the tree.
But he does have a point though. Hakim was basically having him do the dirty work by trying to get the jinn.
He knew that.
So I mean, he was right.
I really liked the quote on page 134, because after he said like, hey, this was Hakim's new strategy to like use someone else to do to do his dirty work. And then he's like, do you understand what I'm saying? And then Shamsuddin's like realizing it, and he's like, what should I do? And Jalal said, trust in me, he said. You have not mistreated me, and you have indulged my chatter tonight. Greater bonds have been forged on weaker foundations than this. I really liked that line. Yeah, kind of their like back and forth push and pull.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
I
wish. Oh, sorry.
I was just listening. I like some of the stories within where he had to answer the questions and stuff.
Yes. And the one where Sham didn't know the answer. And so then technically he got it wrong. So the jinn's like, guess I'm going with you.
It kind of felt like there was a mini lesson within each story, is what I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's why I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which one was the one that he couldn't answer? I'm trying to think.
What's the...
Oh, that one with the servant killing the human. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe that was, oh my gosh, I just realized that it was kind of a play off of what they actually did to Hakeem. Because on the bottom of page 31, it says, even, because he's like, I don't know, even if the servant wishes to take full punishment, the master may still suffer. The servant should have listened to him, both as his servant and his beloved, but he acted out of love. If someone harms a person who is dear to you, then it is difficult to stand by and do nothing. Even if they tell you to leave it alone, it is sometimes better to act upon your anger. Your anger on their behalf is part of what forms your love for them. So, because the question was the servant right or wrong for what he did? So maybe that's like a mirror image of Sham actually killing, poisoning Hakeem to save Jalal the Jinn.
Jalal. Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm
And I'm
wrong.
wrong.
But I'm doing it for, yeah, that's really cool. Oh, Jalal. I remember. Oh, okay. Oh, no. Never mind. That was after. Okay. Yeah, I'm tired of my tree. I'm tired of seeing the same old leaves night after night. Maybe I'll find a new one. Like, there's a tree outside my house. Okay. I love that. Oh. Now,
And then what was the next one that? Let me go back to content. What about Unraveled?
That one I actually didn't really have much written down. I don't know why. I couldn't get into this one as much. But I know that one was one of your favorites.
Yeah, I like this
I want to hear
one.
your thoughts about it. Yeah, maybe
I
it's one
like
I need
this
to
one
reread.
because I guess she fell for the boy. I think his name is Arit. And then when it came down to it, he kind of like turned his back because I guess his family's enemy took her. And when she came back, to them she was tainted. So I took it as they felt like she was tainted because while she was with the enemy, they felt like the enemy might have done something to her that made her not pure anymore. And so when she got back and he found her and, made sure she was okay, it was, if you love me, you'll be with me. But then his family was telling him that she was tainted and not pure anymore and that he shouldn't be with her. So in the end, I believe it was that he picked his family over her. And she went back into the
forest.
She went back into the forest.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think it was. I don't know. I didn't take it that she was tainted in their eyes. I think I thought it was like they kind of thought of her as different. Like in the beginning, they didn't think she was, worth it to even rescue. And she was just like, just someone their son can like move on from or whatever. But then when he gets to it, he's like surprised that she survived with the
Right.
and like I he was like I think wondering how she did it, like if she has some kind of power, even though she never showed she had power. Um, but I think during that time alone, she did show a little bit of power when she was with the enemy. Um,
Hmm.
Yeah, because she did get away from him.
yeah, and so um, let's
So when he said,
So was it him telling her to go with him, and then she went back into the forest? Or
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
because he was telling her that he trusted her, but then when it came down to it, he went with the family instead of staying with her. And she realized that he really didn't trust her, like that he was lying to her.
Mm.
Well, he
Maybe the damsel of the future, but
she held out her hand for him. He never took it.
he never took it. Yeah.
But she turned and started walking away. He was calling after her, but she ignored him and kept walking.
Hmm.
Um,
You trust the thing you think I am, the maybe bride, the damsel of the future, Bahu. She runs her hand down his arm and lifts his hand, her finger. Hold my hand. Walk back into the city with me right now. Show them all that we're united together. His hand twitches in hers as if he's considering it. She holds her breath for a beat and then quickly, Kuhasa? The mist gathers behind at the edge of where she can feel the wet in her hair. Oh, and then he pulls away from her and she takes a deep breath and then she walks away.
yeah. And I
I
think
was
it was like I saw it as like I think it was I kind of saw it like from how it was described in the beginning. I think his family kind of looked down on her and thought she was
yeah.
good enough, and that's why they didn't want him to rescue her.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was. Uh, I was gonna say almost like a Romeo and Juliet, but not quite.
Yeah.
It's just like her wanting to show like everyone like we're together, we're united.
But I like what I did like was the end where like when he does pull away, then she doesn't like throw herself at him and bag all this stuff. She's from 180 to 181. He's looking at her like he doesn't know what to do, but that isn't her problem. She's not here to be a taunt, a tool, a thing. The weight of wanting to braid into his life lifts off her, and she settles into her unknown story. Braiding into his life, I was just like, that line.
And that's what made me really like this story.
Yeah.
But I thought he felt like she was not pure to be with him because she had got taken and he didn't know what, but he was talking about her magic, about her possibly having magic. That's why he told her, just tell me the truth and we can be together.
Got it.
He was talking about the magic, not what happened to her while she was with the
right.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's what made me really like this story. Because she was not falling, oh my God, don't leave me. I have to be with you. She didn't do none of that. She was like, okay, if that's how you feel, then deuces.
Then deuces. I love it.
Deuces.
Because like before that, he says, "How did you survive, sweetheart?" He asked, finally looking at her again. "You were never so strong. Everyone will wonder." Then Sweta gets it. There's a surge of anger. She moves forward into Eret's space, twining her arms around Eret's neck, leaning forward. She presses their mouths together and then rests her forehead against his. "Do you think it was this?" she asked, voice crying. Eret starts and pulls away with a jerk. She tightens her hand against the back of his neck. The bird monster, Sasha's voice, echoes in her head, a taunt, a tool, a thing. Oh, okay. I think I see where Teresa, you were thinking it was her being tainted,
Yeah.
pure because of that moment she does. So yeah, that's actually interesting how we both kind of saw it two different ways. Like I thought
Yeah.
her power and stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool that she said the taunt tool thing. I didn't realize that kind of came first full circle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to be a taunt a tool a thing.
Yeah, but he was.
And so that's why I like that this had the author's note.
Yes, at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, to kind of explain that.
And that's another reason why I was talking about her, but there's a version that ends with him questioning her purity, and instead of staying with him, she chooses to go back into the earth. She takes the power she has and uses it to show what she's worth.
Ooh.
So that's why I was thinking he was talking. But he was in this story. He's talking about her magic abilities, whereas I thought he was talking about her purity.
No, but you know what? I just made the connection. So they're talking about her purity, like you were saying, Teresa. But the reason I thought it was her powers because they mention powers and stuff. Because a lot of like in society, women's powers are often portrayed as our sexuality.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Ability to, use our sexuality to get a guy.
Temptation.
Right. The temptress.
Wow.
That's
really
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because that's why I was thinking her purity. So, but I see what you're saying now. Because
yeah, and that's why I was thinking her power.
Yeah, her power was Because sex sells, and they always using pretty women in with sexy outfits on for marketing purposes.
Right? That's interesting.
Well, women, we do have a lot of power, more power than what we think we do.
I think I like the story even more now.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that story.
Seeing that. It's cool that we can have these, like we can read something and then make these connections after the fact. It's kind of it makes me realize that there's like deeper things going on with stories sometimes that like oh, I just didn't get it. Like
yeah, but when you're discussing it though, it helps you read between the lines because like Vanessa said, we come to the same conclusion, but we were just looking at it different ways.
Yeah.
Which makes it more interesting to me.
Yeah. So, do we want to talk about Poetry of the Earth or Daughter of the Sun? Which ones did we all like?
I said I like Poetry of the Earth.
Yes. That one, yeah, because I wrote down Uma's an Espara, whatever that is. Oh, okay, it's a celestial being. Oh, okay, it's a nymph. I guess it's all three.
Oh, I love a good nymph story now.
But
I really liked that, and I knew this is probably where the story was going, when she told him not to look at in her notebook and stuff.
Hmm.
I like that he proved her wrong, because she was thinking he's eventually gonna look at it. He's gonna betray my trust, and he never does. So,
Nope, he didn't.
hi, Jenna. Thanks for
Hello.
lurking and liking the like button. Yeah, it's kind of cool because that was kind of like the this was another one that had like the little folklore that was in the first story, where they kind of like inhabited, it's not quite the same, but they kind of inhabited this high schooler's like body, and she took this mortal form and is kind of pretending to be this high schooler. And I always love when there's in a story there's like a writer, or that Parag is trying to write his novella and she's trying to help him with the ending.
Helping.
I love that when I'm just like, oh, there's a little like writer. The writer's writing about the writer. I love that. But the quote, where is it here? 237 to 230. Let's see. She said, all right, first of all, have you considered that a main character could be their own antagonist? Ooh, like being your own worst enemy, Parag said. That's an interesting thought. Humans often are their own worst enemy, that is. They are presented two paths and often choose the one that is the most destructive.
yeah.
I suppose that's
so
true,
true.
but isn't that what causes growth? Mistakes? Making the wrong choice and then learning from it? Humans learn. That's what makes us special, don't you think? I was like, oh, so true. Yes.
So true. So true.
Yeah. Another one I liked was, let's see, page 244. This is actually I think, her thoughts on humanity before she came to Earth, where she says, this is why humanity couldn't be trusted. She heard the words she had said in the celestial court. Humans are fickle, selfish creatures. They change with the wind, and they use all that comes their way, all for a fleeting chance to taste the immortality that is ours. If we let them close, they will burn themselves reaching for us, and they will take all we have. They can never be trusted. And I was like, I I agree that maybe the majority of humans are probably like, but which is why I like the story, because I like that he proved her wrong,
Yes.
with that, and like
Yes.
he was able to show her, oh, you she still has a lot to learn as well, even though she's around for eons and has studied, um, for a long time, but she still has things that she can learn from you.
Yes. Yeah. That's why yeah, this story I really enjoyed because the metaphor, Zuko, I'm not done yet, buddy. I know. You want to chill with me on the couch. This metaphor of like Parag not being perfect, but she is growing to love him. On page 239, the week after they went to the mall, another human invention Uma hadn't understood at first. Then she tasted those cinnamon-specked buns Parag loved, and it began to click into place. Sure, they didn't rival the dishes of the celestial court, but they were very, very close. Something about the gooey, oozy icing and over-the-top sweetness seemed so human, a little too much, too earnest, imperfect and yet lovely. I loved that. And I was like, that's Parag to you, right? He's imperfect and yet lovely.
Lovely. Yeah.
But he didn't, he didn't betray you,
No. I was thinking he was going to look in the notebook after she overheard the conversation that he had. I was like, he bet not look in that notebook.
I knew when at first, like, he just touched it, and then she left.
Yeah.
Like, no, he didn't open it. Like, he
didn't.
He's side-eyeing it.
I knew she was going to, overreact before he even did anything. I said, right off him, but he didn't open it yet. Like,
high school girl overreacting.
So dramatic.
She was embodying her form. Zuko, you always sit, like, he will plant, like, and put his butt, like, right near, like, the Alt key and then something happens, and I'm like, your butt is just an inch too close to my keyboard.
You know what I wonder with that story, though? Since she decided to stay there, and because she said she was going to tell him soon, I really would like to know what his reaction is going to be when she actually tells him who she is. What she is.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm sure she would.
I would love to be a fly on the wall. Yes. Yeah, when she finally sits down to tell him, well, I got something to tell you. I'm not who you think I am.
Oh, wait, the author's note. This is the story of Urvashi and Pururava. Except Urvashi and Pururava's ending is more tragic, with the two never reuniting after Pururava's betrayal. So he actually would have looked at the magic notebook.
He would have looked at it.
Oh, I'm so glad she made it a happy ending, because, like,
because he does actually betray her.
Oh no. Yeah, which is a more nuanced take on what might happen if they tried things differently and tried a little bit of trusted communication.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad she wrote it like that.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, that's why I said I like that. She had him, like, prove her wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, she set him up and then it didn't even work. Yeah, she tried to set him up, but it backfired because he didn't fall for it.
The next one after that was Merch Masala and Magic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where's that one?
It's right after.
Oh, yes. I loved this one.
Yeah. I really loved how strong the women in that family were. Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, so satisfying when the grandma smacked them off.
Which usually they don't, because, like, they, there's this, like, hierarchy of respect and everything. And nope, that was like, you deserved that.
Well, she was older anyway.
Yeah. I loved all, like, the food references, like, all of the food in this one. I thought, because it was like, I don't know a lot of, like, the cultural foods and stuff. So I could, like, smell, like, the cardamom, and, like, it, like, really was descriptive, and I liked that because it was different from a lot of the other ones. a lot of other stories.
It makes you want to try some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Go to like a restaurant that serves these things and try them out.
I also liked that their magic was infused in their food, their cooking, because it made me think of kitchen witches and how
Yeah.
a lot of their spell work or magic is when they're cooking.
Yes. That was like the author's note. She said, like, you know, my Dottie was a great woman. She didn't win any awards and she didn't cook for kings and presidents, but just like Dottie in Mirch Masala and Magic, she made magic every time she cooked. The story pays homage to the woman she was and the women I look up to, which is like, that's sweet.
This is the one about they added the raisins and they was like, I didn't do it.
Like, why? Who did that? You're not supposed to. Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah.
I was like, who put the raisins in the
I also like, this is the only story that had this on page 266 where there was like the cross out.
Yeah.
Nadia, Noor, and I decided to stay home instead of accompanying the other two because we are nosy was crossed off, just in case our help is needed. I loved that. And I
That's
wanted,
cute.
With that, I was like, ooh, that was so like unique and fun. I wish there was more of that throughout the story. Yeah, because I felt like that gave it a little extra like unique edge.
Yeah. Also, with this one, I really liked a lot of the quotes in here too. Like on 260, it says, "Last name child, you didn't shame me by returning home. You respected yourself enough to remove yourself from a situation that was hurting you. You did exactly what you needed to. The rest is up to us." Daddy gives Nazine a hug. And so I love that, like, especially with some families and stuff, it's kind of, it's not that supportive when, like, she left her husband and stuff with the way they were treating her. And you would think any family should be supportive in that situation. But sometimes it's like, well, you married them, you gotta do what you gotta do, you gotta work it out, figure it out, whatever. And so I liked that, they didn't tolerate or put up with that for one second. And some of the other quotes on 266, Daddy scoffed. "You are not running away, Bleeder. You are choosing to put yourself first. Why should you have to force yourself to see them when all that will do is hurt you?" And I really love that because it really shows them putting her safety and well-being first.
Yes.
Especially where in a lot of instances, you'll have people that will try to push you to forgive and, like, forgive and try to work things out or whatever, which puts you back into direct environment with the people that were abusing you. So that was another one. And then
his grandmother was horrible.
I know.
That lady ought to be ashamed of herself.
His whole family.
Yeah, they just awful.
Yeah, and then on page 271, this is the part
Mhm.
I was talking about where Dodgy takes 2 steps forward, the rage in her eyes spilling over, and a second later, the woman's face is thrown to the side, a handprint appearing on her skin. In my family, daughters are more precious than sons. The loss of a partner does not make a woman any less. Everyone has bad luck sometimes. However, however, when you step in mud, you don't stop walking. You simply wash the dirt off before continuing on your way. Daddy sneers at him, making no secret of who she
Who she thinks is the dog. I know that's right.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what she did. I don't think I would have smacked her cheek. I probably would have hit her in her throat for what she said.
There'd be a handprint on her throat.
Yes, I
But
would have messed up her vocal box. I
I
would have hit
think
her dead smack in her throat.
I think that goes to show just like how some people view women in society.
Mhm.
Where it's like they thought, she was going to be worthless if she divorced their son, and
Yeah.
she's not gonna have anyone, and all these things. And so I love that the grandma was like, no, like just because we made a mistake doesn't mean she's worthless and that
Mhm.
she leaves your family. And you know, our daughters are so precious, they're more precious.
Yeah,
And so I love that whole part.
beautiful.
Yeah. And I'm like, what makes his family so special that she's like, well, she better be glad she was able to marry into the family. I'm like, what makes your family so special?
I was like, are they rich
What?
or something?
I
I,
mean,
I was wondering if maybe they were wealthy and had money, and so
yeah, I'm
they.
like, are you worth $1 billion or something? What makes your family so special that she needs to be,
You
okay or bound down that she's married into your family? No.
But then, when you stop and think about it, it can't be that they're rich or whatever, because
Mm,
Dad said he pulled her out of school and took her tuition money that her parents paid for himself because he needed it more than she needed an education.
see, I'm like, dude.
I'm like, okay, so it's not because you guys are rolling in dough.
hmm.
What? I didn't, I didn't get it, but
His grandfather said, sign the darn papers. You think she's the only woman around signing the darn papers? I'm like, oh. His grandmother's like, stop begging them. I'm like, dude, nobody's gonna want to marry you or be with you because of your family. Your family is gonna always run people away from you because of the way they act.
and he's never gonna be able to stand up to his family for
No.
which I did mark that part in here too because I was like, this is why I can never deal with like a mama's boy or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, he can't resist the urges of his family and
No,
signs the papers. Once he's done, the guests don't even pause to wash their hands and faces. And
No,
then they drag him back into the van or whatever to leave. But I'm
no.
like, dude, stop letting your family run your life.
the last quote that I had that I really liked was on page 272, and it says, um, Dante laughs grimly. Don't worry, Beta. It's not just our family they will be honest with. They're going to spend the time until the food is digested, confessing their sins to everyone they have wronged. And tomorrow the merch will start working. A rare darkness arrests her face before she says, I didn't kill them, but before the merch is done with them, they'll wish I had.
Yeah. Now, was that her grandmother?
That was
Yeah, her grandmother is about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd take her grandmother with me anywhere because her grandmother is about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
These are so good. These were, yeah.
Her grandmother just makes that whole story because I just thought, oh my God, they think that they are just the it family. I'm like, no, you're not.
You're not nothing.
Not at all.
So I'm really glad that we, all enjoyed a lot of the same ones, so we can talk about them. If you are watching the replay, let us know if you had the same favorite short stories or if there were different ones that you liked and why. And if there were any revelations that you had while reading as we came up with as we were discussing. But so please join us for our December, aka in December book of the month pick, which is our indie book. Oh, nice! You have it. The Tournament of Heirs by Amelia Perez. Sounds really good. I was just like, yeah, that sounds a tournament to the death sounds good.
And it is a chunker.
It is a chunker. Yeah.
I was like, man, it's a chunker.
We might give ourselves some extra time and
extra time on this one.
Yes. But yeah, so we will read this in December. Be on the lookout on YouTube and in our Goodreads group, which is linked down below, for when we will schedule this. It will be either January 5th or January 12th. And be on the lookout for the poll on Goodreads in a week for what book we're going to read in January. First book of 2025.
Yay!
Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll catch you next time.
Bye, everyone.